Stop everything you are doing right now because what I am about to tell you could be worth thousands of pounds to you today. Your landlord was legally required to do something specific within 30 days, and there is a very real chance they did not do it at all. If your landlord failed to do what I am about to describe, they face a financial penalty fine of up to £7,000 right now. And if they still have not done it after being fined, that penalty rises to an absolutely staggering £40,000 with no exceptions whatsoever. This is not clickbait, and this is not an exaggeration. This is a real legal government requirement that thousands of landlords across England completely missed. Watch this video until the very end, and then send it to every single renter you know because this information is genuinely that important for everyone. On the 1st of May 2026, the Renters' Rights Act 2025 came into full force and changed the entire landscape of renting in England overnight completely. 11 million renters across England received new rights, new protections, and new legal powers under the most significant rental law change in 40 years. But here is the thing that absolutely nobody is talking about loudly enough, and it affects every single renter watching this video right now today. When that law came into force, every single landlord in England with an existing tenancy was legally required to do something very specific within 30 days. They had exactly 30 days from the 1st of May to the 31st of May 2026 to hand every named tenant an official government document. Not just any document, and not just a copy. The actual specific official PDF produced by the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government itself. This document had to be downloaded directly from Gov. UK and provided to every single named tenant on every single tenancy agreement individually without exception. It could only be delivered in one of two valid ways: printed and handed over in person or sent as an attached PDF file by email. Here is something critically important that most renters and even many landlords do not know about how this document had to be delivered to tenants. Sending a link to the PDF by text or email does not count as valid delivery under the law and is still treated as a complete breach. The actual PDF file had to be attached to the email, not a link to it, and this is the rule that has caught thousands of landlords out already. This official document is called the Renters' Rights Act Information Sheet 2026, and it is your absolute legal right as a renter to have received it. If your landlord did not give you this specific document by the 31st of May 2026, they have committed a legal offense against you personally. They face a civil penalty fine of up to £7,000 from your local council for every single tenancy where they failed to comply properly. That fine applies per tenancy, not per property, meaning if they failed across multiple tenants, those fines stack up very quickly into an enormous total. And if the breach continues for more than 28 days after a penalty notice has been issued, that fine rises immediately to £40,000. Now I want to ask you something directly, and I need you to think very carefully before you answer this important question about your own tenancy today. Did your landlord actually give you the official Renters' Rights Act Information Sheet 2026 before the 31st of May 2026 deadline passed completely? Think carefully now. Did you receive the actual document as an email attachment or a physical copy handed to you or posted through your door? Or did you just receive a link in a text message or email that pointed to the document online rather than the actual document itself attached? Was the document given to every single person named on your tenancy agreement individually, or was it just sent to one person on the tenancy? If the answer to any of those questions is no, or you simply cannot remember receiving it, your landlord may already be in breach of the law. Before I tell you exactly how to report this, I want you to understand what is actually inside this document, because the contents matter enormously for you. The Renters' Rights Act Information Sheet 2026 is the official government summary of every major new right you now have as a renter in England today. The government legally required every landlord to put this document into the hands of every tenant because the rights inside it are that powerful and significant. The first right confirmed inside this document is that your tenancy no longer has an end date and has not had one since the 1st of May 2026. All fixed-term tenancies in England automatically converted to rolling periodic tenancies with no end date on the 1st of May 2026 without you needing to do anything. Whatever your old contract said about an end date, that clause is now completely void, and your landlord absolutely cannot use it to remove you from your home. The second right confirmed is that your landlord can never again evict you without a legally proven specific reason accepted by a court of law. Section 21 no-fault evictions are completely and permanently abolished, and any Section 21 notice served after the 1st of May 2026 is totally illegal and invalid. If your landlord has given you a Section 21 notice since that date, do not leave your home and contact shelter or citizens' advice immediately today. The third right confirmed inside this document is that your landlord can only raise your rent once per year with no exceptions whatsoever under any circumstances. They must use the specific official legal form called Form 4A to notify you of any rent increase because an informal letter or text is not legally sufficient. They must also give you at least 2 full months of written notice before any rent increase can legally take effect under the new rules now in place. If your landlord has not used Form 4A or has not given you 2 months' notice, the rent increase they proposed may simply not be valid at all. The fourth right is that your landlord can only charge you a maximum of 1 single month of rent in advance when starting any new tenancy today. If your landlord charged or accepted more than 1 month in advance from you, that is defined as a prohibited payment, and you can report it to your council. The fifth right is that your landlord cannot refuse your application or treat you unfavorably because you receive housing benefit or have children living with you. The infamous no DSS ban that appeared in rental advertisements for many years is now completely and permanently illegal across the entire private rented sector in England. The sixth right is that you can formally request to keep a pet in your rented home, and your landlord must properly consider and respond to that request. They cannot simply say no without giving you a legitimate and genuinely reasonable written justification for refusing your pet request under the new law today. The seventh right is that your landlord cannot run a rental bidding war or accept any offer above the rent price that was advertised to prospective tenants. Every single one of these 7 powerful rights is confirmed and explained inside the official information sheet your landlord was legally required to hand you by May. Now here is the most important part of this entire video, and I need you to pay very close attention to every single word I am about to say. Your legal rights under the Renters' Rights Act apply to you completely and fully whether or not your landlord ever gave you this official information sheet document. The rights exist regardless, and the law is in force right now, but the fact that your landlord failed their legal obligation is something you can now act on. Here is your complete 5-step action plan, and I need you to follow every single step carefully, starting with step 1, which you can do right now today. Step 1. Think back carefully to late May 2026 and ask yourself honestly whether you received the official Renters' Rights Act information sheet from your landlord. Check your email inbox for an email from your landlord or letting agent that contained an attached PDF file, not a link, but an actual attached document. Check any physical posts you received around that time and any documents that may have been handed to you in person at your property around May 2026. If you genuinely cannot find it or cannot remember receiving it, there is a very strong probability that your landlord simply failed to provide it at all. Step 2. If you did not receive the official document, contact your local council housing enforcement team today and formally report your landlord for this specific breach. You can find your local council by going to Gov.uk and searching your postcode to get your council contact details for their housing enforcement department. Tell them clearly that your landlord failed to provide the Renters' Rights Act information sheet 2026 to you as a named tenant before the 31st of May deadline. The council has full legal power to investigate this specific breach, confirm it happened, and issue your landlord a fine of up to £7,000 immediately. Step 3. If your landlord or letting agent sent you a link to the document rather than the actual attached PDF file, that also does not count as valid service. Government guidance from the Ministry of Housing is completely explicit on this point. Emailing or texting a link to the PDF is simply not valid service at all. The actual PDF document must be physically attached to the email for electronic service to count as legally valid delivery under the Renters' Rights Act requirements. If your landlord sent a link rather than the actual attached document, report this to your local council in exactly the same way as a full non-delivery breach. Step 4. If you have a letting agent managing your property, both your landlord and the letting agent were each separately required to give you the information sheet. This is not a case where one provides it and the other is automatically covered. They each have completely separate and independent legal obligations to every named tenant. If either your landlord or your letting agent failed to provide it individually, either of them faces that £7,000 fine from the local council now. Step 5. Even if your landlord provided the document correctly, please download and read the official information sheet yourself from Gov.uk right now today. Search for Renters' Rights Act Information Sheet 2026 on Gov.uk and download the actual official PDF to make sure you fully understand every right it confirms for you. Now, some landlords are claiming they did not know about this requirement and were not properly informed about this specific legal obligation under the Renters' Rights Act. But this requirement was published on Gov.uk in March 2026 and was communicated to every major landlord association and every major property publication in England. The deadline was the 31st of May 2026, and it was widely publicized across all landlord organizations, so ignorance is genuinely not a legal defense here. And the important reality is that the council is not going to knock on your landlord's door unprompted because they need a formal report from you to act. If nobody reports this specific breach, then nothing happens and your landlord escapes the legal consequence of their failure to comply with their clear legal obligation. Please do not let that happen because reporting your landlord for this specific breach is completely legitimate, and it is exactly how the enforcement system is designed to work. Now I want to make something very clear before we finish this video, and it is the most important thing I am going to say to you today right now. You have rights that no landlord in England can take away from you, and those rights apply to your tenancy right now, regardless of what your agreement says. The document your landlord was supposed to give you confirms those rights, but the rights themselves exist in law with or without that document being delivered to you. So please go and check whether you received this document, and if you did not, go and report it to your local council enforcement team today without any delay. Share this video right now with every single renter you know, because most people renting in England right now have absolutely no idea this obligation even existed. Your family members who rent, your friends who rent, your neighbors who rent, every one of them deserves to know whether their landlord met this legal requirement. And every landlord who failed to provide this document deserves to face the legal consequences that the government specifically designed this law to impose on them. If you found this video helpful, please like it right now because it costs you absolutely nothing and it helps thousands more renters find this critical information today. Subscribe to UK Housing Alert and hit the notification bell because every single week we bring you new information about housing law that could protect your home and money. We are here every week in plain, simple English, making sure every renter in England always knows exactly where they stand and exactly what their landlord must do. Your rights are completely real, your landlord's legal obligations are completely real, and the money they face in fines for failing you is completely real too. Go and check right now whether your landlord gave you the Renters' Rights Act Information Sheet 2026, because if they did not, you know exactly what to do today. UK Housing Alert is here every single week, and we will never stop making sure that every renter in England knows their full rights under the law always. Many landlords genuinely did not realize that sending a link was invalid and believed they had complied when in reality they had not met the legal requirement at all. This specific technical rule about links versus attachments has caught out a very large number of landlords across England who thought they were fully compliant already. If your landlord sent you a link thinking that was sufficient, you should still report it because the law does not make exceptions for well-meaning but non-compliant landlords. The enforcement system relies entirely on tenants reporting breaches because councils do not proactively check every landlord for compliance with this specific document requirement. You are the only person who knows whether you received this document correctly, and you are the only person who can trigger the enforcement action by reporting it. Reporting your landlord for failing to provide this document does not require a solicitor and does not cost you any money because it is a simple council report. Your local council housing enforcement team is specifically funded and staffed to deal with exactly these kinds of Renters' Rights Act compliance breaches from landlords in your area. When you make your report be clear and specific, state the full address of your property and the full name of your landlord or letting agent clearly. Tell the council the date your tenancy started and confirm clearly that you did not receive the information sheet as an attached document before the 31st of May 2026. Keep a record of your report and ask the council for a reference number so you can follow up if you do not hear back within a reasonable time frame. If your landlord has a letting agent managing your property, also report the letting agent separately because they also had their own independent legal obligation to provide it. The penalty of up to £7,000 per tenancy means that landlords with large portfolios who failed across multiple properties could face enormous total fines very quickly. A landlord who owns 10 properties and failed to provide the information sheet to tenants in each one could face fines totaling up to £70,000 overall. If your landlord received a fine and still has not provided you with the correct document, the fine for continuing non-compliance rises immediately to £40,000 now. Beyond the information sheet requirement, please also use the free benefits calculator at entitled.co UK to check if you are claiming all the housing support you are entitled to. Many renters who are fully aware of their tenant rights are still leaving hundreds of pounds per month unclaimed in housing benefit and universal credit housing support today. Go to entitled.co UK or turn to us.org UK right now after watching this video and spend 5 minutes checking your full housing benefit entitlement completely free of charge. Citizens Advice at citizensadvice.org, UK and Shelter at shelter.org. UK both offer completely free expert housing advice if you need guidance on reporting your landlord or claiming rights. The Gov UK website contains the full official guidance for tenants under the Renters' Rights Act, so always use it as your primary reference for accurate legal information. Remember that every right you have under the Renters' Rights Act exists and applies to you right now, whether or not your landlord ever gave you the information sheet. Your home is protected by the strongest tenant rights England has ever seen, and UK Housing Alert is here every week to make sure you always know exactly that. Go and check right now, report your landlord if needed, claim your rights, and share this video with every renter you know because they need to know this today. Subscribe to UK Housing Alert today and hit the bell so every important housing law update reaches you before your landlord hopes it never will.